9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh boy, of course you did. I knew you were going to do that. Well, I'm New York Pete, the co-host of Interfleet Broadcasting, and I'm here with my best friend Chris, also known as the Tipsy Toaster. However, in this segment, he's actually portraying the new Cylon from the never produced Desanto singer Battlestar Galactica that he had custom made. So thank you for joining us. Oh, stop that. Nobody understands what you're saying, you. It's our pop culture sci-fi entertainment channel. Full disclosure, Chris and I
Which is worse? Which is better?
Yeah, just leave it on for now. You look like the man in what is it? The man in the helmet.
Iron Mask.
The Iron Mask. That's it. So yeah, we grew up watching 70s, 80s TV movies, comics, and cartoons. We're big Battlestar Galactica fans. So welcome to our corner of the universe, and we have our special guest in the wings in the green room waiting. However, which is Skyler Ramirez is going to be coming on, telling us about he's got 2 trilogies. The second one is on its way, and so he's going to tell us all about that very cool sci-fi, military sci-fi stuff. In the meantime, we have Tiny Bean Tara and all you guys that are checking in with us. Baz from down under in Australia, thank you for tuning in. We love having you, Baz. And of course, there's Chuck Davenport, and there is Superfan Fran, and Professor Eric Padden. I know that Dave Francoeur. What's up, Dave? Thank you, buddy, for putting up the video, and I hope you saw that I posted, for those of you that are collecting cards and Planet of the Apes fans, I put up a little thing on that. So Dave helped me complete my set, Chris, and I put up some pictures on that.
You have now been completed.
Lola is, of course, with us.
Her name was Lola.
That's right. Kim Harms. What's up, Kim? Let me see. As you guys pop up, I will definitely...
Helmet hair is always fashionable.
Rob Baum. How are you, Rob? What's going on, buddy? And Mediocre Modeler, of course. Thank you, Mediocre Modeler. Dorian Keyes, another one of our sci-fi winning authors that was one of our first guests and who is working with us on The Stranded Warrior. He was actually in the film, background actor, and he also is our composer, Chris.
Yep, we suckered him. I mean, he came on.
Exactly. And
for all the money we're paying him.
I gotta, you know what? I don't know if I mentioned this before, but when we're doing a fan film, it's called The Stranded Warrior. And I just wanted to mention that when we were bringing out the props, Chris, on set, everybody was flipping out, whether it was the helmet or some of the other things that we used that Mediocre Modeler made for us. Everybody's flipping out.
I haven't shown the medallion.
Oh, you gotta, yeah. James McCall.
I got it over here. I'll get it during a point where I can walk away from the computer.
Yeah, you got to bring that on because that's really special.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That was funny though. We'll tell the story behind that one. But
oh yeah, and we're gonna do a deep dive today on the Desanto singer Battlestar Galactica that got.
We're gonna do a summary on the. Actually, we're gonna go through the entire.
The script itself that we have, yeah.
And I rate the script as a C-, because
the Cylons get their butts kicked. That's why.
But really, never mind. Yeah. We'll get into it.
Oh yeah, it's good.
No, it's not good. It's stupid.
It's not stupid. Anyway,
I've got a Viper full of explosives, 2 of them, and I'm gonna blow up a base star. No.
Yes.
No.
Perfect. That's how it's done, man. That's how it's done, bro.
then the Pegasus was severely undergunned, evidently, because they couldn't take on two. So
Okay, you need to stop being so petty. It would have been a great show.
no, it wouldn't
But
have.
yeah. Well, I don't know. I think it would have
The
been.
last part of it would have been bad. Anyways.
No, it was good. Anyway,
Anyways,
so let's go to
anyways.
our
Yes.
toast.
So tonight. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta switch over. There we go. There's Pete. All right.
Yep.
So tonight, we did a swilled dog not too long ago, and Pete fell in love with it. So I found another one. This one is mango ginger. I believe the other one was a pumpkin. So this is swilled dog, a hard cider, mango ginger, semi-sweet cider, gluten-free, 6.9% alcohol, and it's a crisp mango, lively ginger, refreshing ripe apple. Our flavorful hard ciders are handcrafted in West Virginia to bring together friends and family looking for a good time. We believe in making an impact in the communities we serve, chasing squirrels, and a good game of fetch. Enjoy responsibility. Lucy Pickles is the lead apple fetcher for Swilled Dog Brewery.
Excellent.
And she's got her name, she's got her picture on the back too.
Yeah. Cool. There it is. Okay.
All right.
I'm ready. Are you ready?
Uno, dos, tres. Oh, smells just as good as the pumpkin one.
Smells good.
Midtown Comics tonight.
Oh, well, I have R2D2.
See, you're a robot liker too.
And Megan.
Robots rule. Ready?
Come on. Oh, this is going to be good. Excellent. It did not end up on my keyboard.
I can't say that yet.
All right. Got some vodka and cranberry juice. All right, Kim, enjoy. Ready?
So, as we say every time, so it's very important that we toast to the fans. So
right.
It's the people who make the fandoms, the people who write the books, the people who act, the people who create the art, people who come up with the ideas that the fans love so much. We like to toast the fans and those people. Here's to you, because
fans fuel the fleet. Whoa.
That's pretty good.
There's a lot of ginger. I can taste the ginger in that.
I don't think it's as good as the, well, wait a minute. I don't know.
There's a lot of ginger in this.
Yeah, I think it's just as good as the, I don't know. This is better than the pumpkin. I think the pumpkin's better. Pumpkin might have more cinnamon.
This tastes more like a ginger ale with some hidden mango in it than
not bad.
The other one. Yeah. Well, thank you.
Don't worry, I'll try to find another stout for you.
Yes.
Better yet,
so
next week.
Over.
Oh no, next week. That pink can.
Yeah, I know it. I looked at it today. It's got like chili peppers in it.
Yes.
Why would you put chili peppers in the drink?
Habanero. Yes.
No, you're crazy. We'll see about that. Anyway.
But thank you, Superfan Fran, and
thank you.
Who else? Damn, Chuck. Is it Marshall? I can't remember who else gave money. Sorry. It's old age. This is what happens.
I don't know, man. But anyway, we have Tiny Bean Tara is waiting.
You want to do Tiny Bean first?
Yeah, let's get her up. My pleasure, as always. Thank you, Fran. And
hang on, she's off. I'll fix her as we go. Hang on, I'll bring her on, and don't move, Tara. I'm going to fix you. Don't move. I'll fix you. Hang on.
All right, so he's going to do some magic, but in the meantime, guys, I put up the map on IFB, and it's the location of, we're going to be in Hall B at AwesomeCon. So you guys please come down, make sure that you come to visit. And so I got that. Let me see. We got some stuff going on. Yeah, let's see. Yes, Superfan Fran is. Yes.
Okay, we're good now.
So, yes, Dorian Keys the writer is actually composing, has already composed multiple original pieces for the Stranded Warrior.
Yeah, we got to pull up just one of those quick things tonight.
No, we're not. No,
yes, that would be so cool. There was some really good Diana Durango shots we looked at the other day as we're resorting, resorting the videos.
Oh my God, we got some really cool stuff, really good stuff.
And we look at that and you get chills. You're like, oh, I didn't even realize I said that. I didn't realize
cool stuff. So we're slowly making our way to everything. Everything's getting labeled, and then it goes out to the editor, who is very kind enough to have volunteered his services, but we had to rent out the equipment and the software and the likes. So
buy the hard drives that one failed.
Yes, the one failed, but yep. Anyway, that's how it rolled.
Luckily, we had another one. Nothing like having it backed up in like 4 different locations. I have raw video in New York and Virginia and in the cloud.
That's right.
So we have every piece of video everywhere. Yes.
That's right. Right. So, Tiny, what do you got for us?
Hey, guys. Oh, boy. Well, I got lots of fun stuff. If you guys are ready to go, I will jump right in.
It's Tiny Bean Tara.
Yeah, where's my song?
Where's the soundtrack? Come on, man.
I kind of want that, like, anytime I walk into a room, can we just arrange for the Tiny Bean Tower music? I think that would be amazing.
Got your own theme song. Hey, hang on. Wait a second. Let me turn this on. Get my cell phone out.
Yep. Hold on. Oh, man. All right, guys. Well, I am ready. So, hello, Fleet. It is good to be back as always. Hope you're all staying safe out there. The East Coast air is a bit smoky right now, so it's a good time to stay indoors and catch up on shows. So, you're in luck. In Tiny Bean's Corner of the IFB, we discuss all things new and interesting in film, book, TV realms, outside of the Battlestar world that may be worth checking out. So let's begin, as always, with previews and upcoming news.
Drum roll, please.
Star Trek.
That's what I need to do. I need to have a drum roll.
Yeah.
I need to have a drum roll. I have other things, but I don't have the drum roll. Hang on. These humanoids are not well constructed. I gotta get a drum roll put in there. Anyway, I'm sorry.
No worries. All right, guys, so let us start with Star Trek Strange New Worlds. It is just around the corner. It's only a week away, gang. They have just released a final trailer, and it looks fabulous. Eagle-eyed fans are already pointing out some Easter eggs throughout, and the showrunners promise many more this season, so keep your eyes peeled for that. There is already a 3rd season confirmed, and I, for one, cannot wait for the introduction of the new James T. Kirk, played by Paul Wesley. So, Paramount Plus, guys, June 15th, I will be there. Now, also on June 15th, after a long wait,
finally,
the British... See, right? 4 years. The British series dubbed the successor to The Twilight Zone, Black Mirror, is finally returning with 5 episodes for their 6th season, and this will be on Netflix. This multi-award-winning sci-fi anthology series is pretty brilliant. It's thought-provoking, scary, sometimes hilarious. Creator Charles Brooker says it should be a series that can't be easily defined and can keep reinventing itself. So expect some exciting changes this season. And as always, there will be a host of familiar actors who will pop up, the likes of Salma Hayek, Aaron Paul, Rory Culkin, and Kate Mara. Check that out on Netflix, also starting on the 15th. Now, here's one that I have been super excited for. Good Omens Season 2. And will begin on Prime July 28th. Such a fun series.
It's been a long time for that one, too, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, yeah, definitely a long time. But again, like, we didn't expect a 2nd season, so this is good.
Hopefully Count Abley shows up.
Right. Right. So in this one, it stars the delightful Michael Sheen and David Tennant, and it's based on the book by the beloved Neil Gaiman and the late, great Terry Pratchett. It is laugh out loud funny, but with signature depth and the brilliance of the source material. The series was such a hit that after the completed first season that really covers the book, they nevertheless continued the story to create a second season. Now, Neil said that that is exactly what Terry wanted. He wanted the story to continue, so. And John Hamm, who I, for one, say is much better at comedy than drama, will be back as the Archangel Gabriel, and they will also introduce a whole host of new characters, including one played by the great Miranda Richardson, who I adore. And she's playing a different character than the one she played in season 1. So get the popcorn ready. This is going to be a fun one, guys. It is sure to be a good time. And speaking of good times, when I was a very young kid back in 1981, I saw a movie that completely blew my mind. It was so good that I saw it in theaters that year 10 times. Yeah, you guessed it. Raiders of the Lost Ark totally changed my world. It was probably the first movie that wasn't a Disney cartoon that I loved that wasn't a sci-fi movie, so that says a lot. Now, I have been in the theater on opening night of every indie movie since, and on June 30th of this year, I will break no exception to that rule. Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny will hit the big screen, and I couldn't be happier. Say what you will about Harrison Ford and his age, but I think bravo, good sir. He looks amazing. The trailer looks exactly as it should. And hey, they are even bringing back Sala, John Rhys Davies. I am so excited for that. The only thing that could top that would be if they brought Karen Allen back again. But hey, I'll be so satisfied to see Indy's send-off, and I'll probably cry a lot. I hope you all will venture out for this one, guys. It's sure to be a special occasion. Now, in review time, let's talk about Sweet Tooth Season 2. I know we talked a lot about the first season. Did you not like the second season? I thought you liked the first one.
Fast.
No.
Oh,
I really enjoyed it.
It's been called Sweet Dreams.
No, stop. I'm a huge fan of this graphic novel series. It tells a fascinating tale of this strange post-apocalyptic future where a pandemic coincides with babies being born half animal, half human. And of course, all the potential fallout of both events. The first season was very well done, and I think the second season followed suit. Young Christian Convery as the lead Gus, he's heartbreakingly good, and I just expect big things from this young man. I think he's going places. Nunzo Anansi from Game of Thrones and Ender's Game, equally terrific. And as the terrifying General Neil Sandilands, he plays the evil General Abbott, really good. It's genuinely fun. It's not brain surgery. It's fun and it's touching and it's still filled with some action. And the third final season has already been confirmed, which should be interesting since they've kind of told the story so far. So we'll see where they go with the final season. I will be watching even if you're not tipsy because I thought it was fun. And
I struggled through it. That's all I can say.
Did you? Oh, okay. But no, you did like the first season.
First season started really slow, and then it picked up, and I liked it. Second season, it started slow and stayed slow.
Oh no!
It almost put itself in reverse.
Yeah. Oh no! Seriously, I thought it picked up and the tension started to like ratchet up each time, but. Yeah, hey, I thought it was fun. Check it out, guys. Tell me what you think. And last for tonight, I am not ashamed to say I am a big Schwarzenegger fan. So I was completely thrilled to hear he was doing his first full TV series. Fubar dropped recently on Netflix. It is an action comedy starring the great man in a role that was tailor-made for his talents. You cannot argue that.
Nope.
Physical action and great comic timing. He plays a divorced dad with grown-up kids, and he has been hiding a lifelong secret of being a secret CIA agent. And he suddenly finds out that his beautiful daughter is also a secret CIA agent. So It's predictable. It's not much that you haven't seen already, and it can be a little uneven at times, but if you're looking for a check your brain at the door and have a
Oh,
good time
it's great. I
series,
love it.
right? This is
Yeah.
it. This is the one. There's like tons of double entendres, the witty wordplay.
The wordplay on a certain word that I'm not going to say online here because we don't want to, but he repeats that word a number of times the wrong way. He doesn't understand what the word means.
Yes.
It's amazing. I was rolling on the floor.
Right? It's just, and a really, really solid supporting cast, I think. They're all really good. Everyone also looks like they're having the time of their lives, and that goes a long way. So, count me in on that. Check it out on Netflix. And P.S., if you want more Schwarzenegger, follow it up with Netflix's new documentary on him called Arnold. It's really good. Mm-hmm. It's really good. I mean, so much I didn't know about his life. He doesn't hide from anything. There's nothing he won't talk about. And it's all narrated through interviews with him. So it's like being in his living room and listening to him just talk about his life. Really, really good, guys. Cool. Yeah, definitely. I know a while back I talked about there's kind of a similar one that Stallone did recently. And this was the same thing. I walked away from it like, wow.
I can't wait for the next Tulsa King series. Come on.
Oh, now that was my favorite of last year. And I was just saying to somebody that I feel like Tulsa King was the perfect vehicle for Stallone.
And this was like, the perfect vehicle for
Schwarzenegger. I'm so impressed that they've discovered this, second act on television, and they are just knocking it out of the park. So check it out, guys.
So in Krusty Chris's corner, I think Chris is starting to rewatch a older show, and I ended up binge watching the first 2 seasons almost already. I went back to watch Miami Vice.
Oh no! Wow!
I forgot how good it was. Oh,
that's a great idea.
I got one. It's called Remington Steele.
Yeah, Remington Steele. Yeah.
Yes.
Started watching that.
Oh my gosh!
And I started watching Citadel.
Oh, good. Okay, good. Are you enjoying?
Pete
Citadel
hasn't watched
far?
but I told Pete to watch. What's the one I told you to watch? It's the Peripheral.
Con Man.
Con Man and Peripheral.
Wow. Oh yeah, and Peripheral is fun too.
Con Man is amazing.
Steel is good.
Oh,
Remington
Pete, my
Steele.
grandmother adored Remington Steele. That was like her favorite show. And I loved it. Yeah, oh yeah. And she just thought that he was like so handsome. I think that was part of the reason why I love Pierce Brosnan, but I could never fully accept him as James Bond.
Right.
Because to me he was Remington Steele. From Remington Steele. It's like, okay.
I went through the Miami Vice and I was like, it's the iconic scene that just gives me chills every single time I watch it. It's in the very first episode, and they're in the Ferrari, and they're shooting the wheels of the cinematography is what gets me. Is they're shooting the wheels of the cars. It's driving down the street, and they're playing "In the Air Tonight" by Phil Collins.
That's good.
And they're headed out. They don't know if they're going to survive this shootout. They know they're going to a shootout, and he stops and he calls his ex-wife, soon-to-be ex-wife, and said, "Hey, it was real, wasn't it?" And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is so
wow.
And then the whole time, Tubbs is in the passenger seat and he's putting shotgun shells into the shotgun, and he's looking over at Sonny, who's like intent on driving, and it's like, this scene has been one of my favorite scenes in cinematography and everything. It's just the way it flows together, the song, the you feel the tension, you feel the stress. It's just like, this is just, to me, that's the perfect cinematography scene of almost the 1980s that I can think of. It was just beautiful.
Wow. There's
That's
another
great.
show that Paul Rotter just brought up. Our very own Commander Kane, who's very good friend of ours. Moonlighting.
Moonlighting.
Oh,
Was it Sybil
love
Shepherd?
Moonlighting.
Sybil
David
Shepherd?
Addison. Yep, Sybil
Yep.
Shepherd. Yep.
And wasn't it,
Some fun night.
wasn't it Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis?
Bruce Willis.
Yes.
First
Yes.
thing we saw Bruce Willis in. Yep.
Now he was just in
And
the
David
episode.
Addison.
He was in the episode I was watching last night for Miami Vice. He was
Well,
the
I
arms
gotta-
dealer.
I gotta throw in the
incredible.
Equalizer. I gotta throw in the Equalizer.
Oh, good pick. Yeah.
Kim
Wow.
Harms, by the way, says Brothers in Arms is my favorite Miami Vice episode.
Oh, I think my favorite one is got to be Out Where the Buses Don't Run. That's when the guy acts like a crazy guy, and he's trying to find the person, and then they end up find out they're the ones that actually killed him and put him in this wall. And you know but he acts like he's crazy, and he's just the acting from that guy. I don't know I can't remember the name of the actor or that person, but what an amazing actor. That piece was just whoop. He was great.
Nice. Well, I find myself always jumping back to anything Glenn Larson, and it's about time for my re-binge of the A-Team, because it's the A-Team, and it's Dirk Benedict, for God's sakes. I was also the only little girl in grade school that had an A-Team lunchbox, so there you go.
Now, was it a hand-me-down, or did you actually get it for yourself?
No, that one was actually Nanny. My grandma actually got me that one. So yeah, I had that one. I had the Hardy Boys.
Hardy
Yeah,
Boys.
I just always insisted that I had to have a cool lunchbox, and I was always, and the other girls looked at me like.
Yeah, I think after I finish
Story
Miami
of my
Vice,
life.
after Miami Vice, my next one's gonna be Simon and Simon.
Oh, that's another good show.
Oh, good.
Yeah, you just know the classic stuff. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Superfan Francis.
Spencer.
Which one was the
Spencer
one
was
with
cool too.
the pink ugly helicopter?
I liked Spencer.
Was that Riptide?
Riptide. That's it.
Riptide, yeah.
Loved Riptide. Oh, that was a
Professor
great show.
Patton says Moonlighting was the greatest show until Mark Harmon, alas, showed up.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Started
Yeah.
jumping the shark.
Yeah, that's
Yes.
So that's
my
been
God.
Chris's Crusty Corner. We got a new segment. We'll talk about Chris's Crusty Corner segment.
Oh, yeah. But thank you so much, Tara.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it, always. And here's to you.
Yay.
Yes.
So we
thank
hear
you
from
so
you again
much,
next
guys.
time, of course.
Absolutely.
Thank you much. Take care.
All right, guys.
Mango
I'll be
ginger ale.
watching. Enjoy.
Thank you. All
Guys,
right.
see you soon.
It is
Bye.
time
All right,
to
well,
be Tara.
Chuck, of course, said Starsky and Hutch. Yeah, it's another
Yep.
one.
Kojak, Starsky and Hutch.
Kojak, baby. Kojak. Okay, so in the meantime, while we were, just goofing off on...
While we were
Yes.
going through the crusty stuff.
Yeah, well, stuff that we kind of
Oh,
grew
God.
up with, right? Can't help it. It is what it is.
It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's all
I
good
mean,
stuff.
I don't, if I don't find something on TV now, I go and find a crusty show
Well,
from the 80s.
I was watching Logan's Run, right?
Oh yeah, that's where
Yeah.
Siri came from.
Yeah.
Yep, Siri was the all-knowing, encompassing robot voice that was in episode 2 of Logan's Run. I don't know if they did that on purpose or not, but that's what it was. So
Logan's Run, baby.
BJ and the
Good
Bear.
stuff.
Yeah, I gotta find BJ and the Bear.
Yeah, that one I wasn't too fond of, but
I did find Automan, so I just I bought.
you did get it.
I did
That's
get
right.
it, so
Yeah, you did
I
get
gotta
it.
I gotta
so-
start watching that one too.
Well, we
And
are...
and somebody, if you don't know Battlestar Galactica the movie, it's coming out
4K.
on 4K steel case.
Yeah,
I already ordered mine from
nice.
Best Buy, the steel case version.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
We're lucky tonight that our special guest is sci-fi author Skyler Ramirez, and he's got one trilogy that's out and I believe he's got another trilogy. So it's going to be very cool to hear from him. And we have him in the green room. He's been waiting patiently, and we're going to pick his brain a little bit about his world building and the story itself. And I'm curious to hear about this. It's sci-fi, military sci-fi, which is in our genre and our wheelhouse. So I think without further ado, we're gonna have Skyler. What's up? Welcome to Interfleet Broadcasting, buddy.
Thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here. But you guys missed a couple on the reminiscing there.
Oh yeah.
Knight Rider.
Yes.
Airwolf. I've been trying to get my kids interested in those. I keep trying to show it to them, and they can't get past the 1980s special effects. That's what I mean.
Fall Guy. Haven't watched the Fall Guy. There you go.
The Fall Guy's good.
Yeah. They're doing a remake of that one.
But Chris, you mentioned Automan, and
yes.
I have to go back and look. But my father is a motion picture editor, and I'm pretty sure at one point he worked on Automan.
No,
he's got
really?
a poster in his office. So I have to ask him. He's coming here tomorrow for my son's graduation. So
we'd love to talk to him about Automan. Just especially the editing piece.
Yeah.
It's the people. Like once again, it's behind the people behind the scenes. It's editors and artists and directors and writers, and those people are fantastic. They are the ones that help build that thing. I mean, granted, the actors are in there, but really they're just the final touch.
Yeah. Well, that's how I actually got into writing. My whole family, my whole dad's side of the family, motion picture industry. My dad's been a director, editor, VFX editor. My brother's a VXF editor. He worked on the Atom Project that came out on Netflix not too long ago. My dad just finished the latest thing I know of that he worked on was She-Hulk, but I know he's on to a few more things since then.
Holy cow.
Wow.
Now, I was never interested in the motion picture industry. I did work for a brief time for Disney and Technicolor on the business side, but that storytelling bug, my dad used to run scripts by us when we were kids, and it was just a lot of fun. So that's what got me into writing, I guess you could say, even though I took it in a different direction.
That is so cool, though. That's awesome, man.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Wow. So look, it's hard to avoid the idea that some of that doesn't rub off, right? I mean, you're kind of exposed to it. It's out there. It comes home. You can't just say, "Oh no, I don't know nothing about it." But and there's nothing wrong with it. It's really cool, man. So I mean, it's in the family, and now you're writing. So the Four Worlds, The Truth, a science fiction saga of space travel, right? And I think that's the first. Then there's Subversion, and a Four Worlds story is Revolution. So that's
so. No, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
No, that was kind of like what I got from gleaning information on your books. I know that Revolution is a pre-order now, and you tell us about what else. Now you have another trilogy coming out, or is this the one? Enlighten us.
So this is the one that's out there right now. I've actually got two more series that I'm working on, and they're not on my website yet, so you're the first to hear about them.
Cool.
But one's another sci-fi series. It's about a guy named Brad Mendoza, and to tease it, I'll just say he's a successful military captain turned accidental mass murderer who needs to find some redemption, and does it by getting sent to the end of nowhere to work on the ship that no one else in the fleet wants to work on, and you can imagine that some fun things happen with that. And then the other series I'm working on actually breaks out of the sci-fi genre. It's the Dale Carter series, and it's a little bit of, I think the best way to describe it is Jason Bourne meets Jack Reacher.
Ooh.
A mild-mannered guy that works in an office, gets copied on an email that he should have never been copied on, and now there's a bunch of people trying to kill him. And he starts to have these memories and thoughts that he has no idea where they came from, and learns that he has a whole past and background that is about the only thing that's going to keep him and his wife alive. And it's fun because actually most of the story is from his wife's point of view on seeing this side of her husband that he didn't even know existed, and trying to
Ooh.
determine, does she run, like, is she more afraid of the murderers who are after them, or is she more afraid of this guy that she married that she never really knew? So it should be
Very,
fun.
very cool. Oh wow. We just got a hello from Linda Russell in the UK. So Linda, thank you for tuning in. We always love having you on. And we're here with Skyler Ramirez, who's putting out another set, another, I guess, another trilogy on the way. Actually, you have the next book that you are putting out that's on a pre-order. I guess it
Mhm.
wraps up. It'll wrap up your sci-fi one, Revolution, before you jump into
Actually,
your.
yeah, actually, it's not a wrap up. It's a little bit
Oh,
like a side. So Revolution's a side story, and the story behind it is, so the Four Worlds is, the best thing to call it is, it's a space opera. It has genetic engineering, military, sci-fi, space battles, political intrigue, tons of plot twists, deep characters, and goosebump moments. And it's a trilogy, but as I was writing the trilogy, actually, as I was writing books 2 and 3, I was delving into the backstories of a few characters. I was delving into some side stories, and ended up writing 2 books, um, or the starts of 2 books that originally were part of book 2 and book 3, and got cut, but are just these terrific stories that I want to explore. So I'm writing book 3 right now, and it should be out by the end of this year, uh, tentatively called Ascension. But Revolution was the first of those side stories. And in this universe, you have these genetically engineered individuals who serve the government, and really keep the government in power. And it's not a great government. It's very totalitarian, but in a sneaky way, where most people don't know that they don't have freedom of choice. And really, the whole universe is exploring what happens when humans give up their freedom to choose and give up their free will, either voluntarily or through genetic engineering. There's a whole class of people, I call them enactors, and they are genetically engineered to follow authority without question.
Oh, wow.
And they imprint on an authority at a young age. So this council government takes them from their parents when they're 5 years old or younger, to make sure that they imprint on the government instead of their families.
Kind of Spartanish.
And yeah, it really is. And I would say I got some of my inspiration definitely from watching that. But they get this horrible pain whenever they disobey an order. So it's really not so much that they can't disobey, it's that disobeying puts them in a puddle on the floor in just sheer agony. And so Revolution explores one of those enactors, who is a new mother, and her prologue is actually in my second book, Subversion. But she basically refuses an order to kill an infant, who's going to be collateral damage, in putting down a rebellion. And disobeying the order kills her, and that's in the second book. But one of her squad mates is there, has looked up to this woman as a mentor, and effectively starts a whole separate rebellion based on what she saw happen. And it's her entire story and how she brings others with her, and ultimately convinces a lot of these guys that, hey, even the agony of disobedience is better than following something that you don't believe in.
wow. So Skyler, how do you get to that point? You took us down the path of the plot, and you talked about some of these characters intimately. How do you get there? Where does this come from?
I would say a misspent youth and an overactive imagination. It's funny. I started this series 12 years ago. I was actually flying back and forth to London a lot on business. And this was back when most planes didn't have Wi-Fi. And so it was a really boring flight. And so I started writing when I was on these trips, and it was just a fun little side thing for me. But as I started to share it with family and friends, I got a lot of encouragement to turn this into an actual book series. And so the first book, I like to say, was 12 years in the making, or 11 years in the making, because I finally published it at the end of 2021, and then published book 2 at the beginning of this year. But it really comes down to the characters for me. I come up with the characters first, And then I build the universe around them and around the challenges that they're going through, and I build the plot around them as well. So my focus in all of my storytelling is on deep character development, exploring their backstories, exploring their motivations, and exploring how they make the decisions that they do, and the consequences of doing that, both positive and negative. So a lot of this universe came about as I was thinking through this question of free will and what does it really mean to humanity. And I kept coming back to these characters that are basically learning free will for the first time, whether because they're genetically engineered against it or because they've lived their entire lives under a totalitarian regime that tells them what to think and what to say and where to go.
Interesting. So they kind of, so once you were writing for a while, and this is something that, writing doesn't come easy to a lot of people. You were doing it for fun. And then, so you get that first book more or less, or at least the story for that. And then did the rest of it now come just as easily? Did you have to force yourself? How do you go to beyond?
Yeah. I mean, it takes a lot of discipline, right? I have to set aside time to do it. And I'm lucky that I have a day job that allows me to do that because I'm certainly not yet to the point as a writer where it's replacing my income in a real way. And I'm lucky to have a very patient wife who's okay with me writing late into the night or getting up early in the morning to write. But the interesting thing is, and I think this is a little different than what most writers do, I start with a broad outline of where I think the plot's going to go. And then I start to write each character's story within that plot before I try to weave them all together and bring them all into one unified story. And often as I'm writing that character's story, I'll come to a plot point where I think, no, you know what? They wouldn't do it that way. That's just not them. And so I ended up changing my whole plot because at a crucial point where I was going to have a character make one decision, I realized they wouldn't do it. They'd make this other decision and it changes my whole plot. And then I have to go back and rewrite all the other characters' plots to account for that. And so I like to say that for me, writing is a lot like reading. I don't necessarily know what's going to happen next. I'll start scenes sometimes where I don't know what's going to happen. And as you can imagine, that leads to a lot of rewrites and a lot of going back and polishing what I wrote. And I probably take anywhere from 50 to 75 editing passes on these books when they're done. But
wow.
I enjoy it so much because I'm learning what's happening as I go, just like the reader is.
Wow. Okay. So that is a heck of a way to go about your business. And it sounds like, the more you put into it, when you put your passion into it, it actually makes it better. There's no question about it. Are you going to do is any of this coming out on audio?
Yay, audiobooks.
What's that?
Yay, audiobooks.
I'm definitely planning on getting some of it. I'm looking at next year to get some things out on Audible. I had some agreements that I made with myself and with my wife over what I would spend when based on a certain reader count. And I'm getting close to where I want to be to go spend the money to get a professional narration done. But my wife, who is much more of an audiobook person than a book person, has told me as well, hey, you need to get this out on audiobook so that she can read every story as it comes out, because she definitely doesn't like slogging through it on the Kindle.
Yeah, I was looking at your website, your Facebook site, and I learned a lot about how much they pay Kindle wise from one of your articles that you put on there. I was like, what? So it's like 0.00015 cents per page that somebody reads. I'm like, wow, they track the pages. I would figure they would just track a book. Hey, somebody bought the book, you get so much money for the book. But no, they track the pages. I was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's how they do it with Kindle Unlimited. So there's two ways people can read my first book. They can buy it, and then I do get a cut of that when they buy it, and that's what I get. Or they can read it on Kindle Unlimited, which is what you're referring to. So if they have that monthly membership with the Kindle, they can download it and read it, and I get paid per page that's read on that.
Wow. That's
Uh,
crazy. Oh my
and
God.
there are a lot of independent authors like myself out there that this is their living. And so when those Kindle Unlimited rates change, as they're prone to do, or when the paper book costs go up, Kindle just raised all their print on demand paper book costs this month. It really hurts their income. And, I'm lucky that for me, this is still very much a little extra income and not my primary. But it's tough being an author out there these days.
Sure.
Kindle on one hand and Amazon, and I worked for Amazon for 8 years, so I have mostly good feelings about them. But they've democratized writing. They've made it possible for independent authors like myself to make a go of this. But in a lot of ways, that has also led to the average author making a bit less. And so there's double-edged swords in everything. But I'm just grateful because for me, it's more of a passion than a moneymaker at this point, that they've provided those avenues for authors to get out there.
That's like fans. It's a fandom. It's you have a passion for something, and it's not all about money.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times you talk to like actors, and that's one of the things we'll interview an actor or something, and an actor's like, yeah, it was a job. And then you interview somebody who, like yourself, writes, and to them it's like this was a passion, this was an idea, a thought they wanted to get out. And then and then it gets to the actors and the directors and everybody else. But yeah, it's where it starts. Somebody has to write it. It has to come out of somebody's head.
No, that's what we love. We love this type of thing, Skyler. That's why we like to hear, your background and how it came out and how you keep working it.
It's fun. I like to think there's a little bit of me in every character that I write, even the ones I kill off. And if you read the reviews on Amazon about my book, you'll learn that I kill off the darlings every once in a while. I kill off some of the main characters here and there, and a little piece of me dies every time I do that. I sometimes get angry message from aunts and uncles when I do that. And even from some readers, but I like to make it real, and I like to make these characters feel real to people. And I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but no one ever dies in it, and it lowers the stakes. And I like people to read my books knowing that the stakes are high, and being able to have this visceral connection to these characters that I love and that I put so much myself into, and then weep with me when something bad happens to them. Or when something good happens to them. So that's really where the motivation for me comes in, is can I bring these characters to life, and can I get people to love them as much as I do?
Very, very cool. I just want to say that David Lamont is live with us. Thank you for joining and putting up a hello. Hello to you, sir. And that is just really cool. Where do you see this particular Four Worlds? Where do you see this going? Are you gonna end it? Because when you start killing off certain characters, where do you go?
So book 3 is going to wrap up the main storyline that we've been following thus far, and really it comes down to, you have this totalitarian government. There's 47 human colonies that this government rules. The only places they don't rule are Earth, Mars, and Europa in our own solar system. And so the series really revolves around this colonial government is trying to go back and take over the homeworld. And our heroes are racing against time to get there and warn the homeworld. And then they're trying to help Earth and its sisters prepare for this invasion. And that storyline itself really gets wrapped up in these first 3 books. And then we have those side books as well that go a little deeper into some of the side stories. But I actually have a plan for where the series goes from there. And I have another trilogy on paper, just basically as a rough outline at this point. But, I've gotten a lot of feedback from readers that they're really starting to feel invested in these characters. And so I'm definitely going to take it on further from here and make sure their story continues. Because the entire 3 books really takes place within about a year and a half time. And so we see these characters develop just a tremendous amount, but they're still young. There's still a lot of road ahead of them. So we're going to explore some of that.
Well, that's cool. Tell me about your inspirations. Like what writers do you turn to, and how does that play?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. Tara mentioned Hardy Boys Lunchbox, right? And that's really what I grew up on. I read the entire Hardy Boys series probably 3 times before I was 10 years old. I used to be part of the Franklin W. Dixon official fan club. In fact, you can't see it, but I've got a whole shelf behind me with Hardy Boys. I've got 2 more shelves in another room in the house full of Hardy Boys books.
Wow.
And that was my original inspiration. The other one was Louis L'Amour, who writes Western novels.
Yes.
I love Louis L'Amour. I'm actually rereading Last of the Breed right now because I'm using it for some inspiration for one of the characters that I'm writing in book 3. And then, maybe more recent, Timothy Zahn is a huge favorite. David Baldacci, Lee Child, definitely folks like Kevin J. Anderson and James Luceno, and some of the work they did with Star Wars. And I love Kevin J. Anderson's saga of the 7 Worlds, that I, used as a little bit of inspiration when I was thinking through, my universe building. These guys are all inspirational for 2 reasons, really. They're tremendous storytellers, and they do this great job developing their characters. But one of the things Louis L'Amour always used to put in his books was that he was a storyteller of the old tradition, and that he didn't feel the need to throw in a lot of gratuitous sex and language and violence to make his stories interesting. And I've got 4 kids, ages 8 through 18. I'm also a very religious guy. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So one of the things I try to do with my books is write similar to Louis L'Amour and Franklin W. Dixon in a way where I'm totally okay with my kids reading it, and it's never going to contradict with the things I'm teaching them in the home. And that's been important to me. It probably loses me some audience, and I had to be okay with that from the get-go. But I think it's also gained me some audience as well. In fact, there was these 2 couples that we go to church with that, completely unbeknownst to me, had learned that I was writing, because I don't really talk about it too much in my social circles. I don't ever want to, pressure people into buying my books, although maybe I should from a marketing standpoint. But, they went out and bought these, and they were reading it to each other out loud every day for almost a year.
Wow.
Going chapter to chapter, and they had this whole book club set up around it. And now every week they bother me about book 3, and I love being bothered about book 3. And they ask me what I'm thinking. They ask me if they can read the parts I have written yet, and if they can help out. And it's a lot of fun. I feel like by keeping my writing more in that tradition of some of those old style authors, I've been able to reach that wider audience and really do something that I can be proud of, and I don't ever have to worry about my kids coming to me and asking, why'd you put this in the book, or can I read this part? And I always want to be able to say yes.
Interesting. Very, very cool. We have a question from our own production coordinator and also a anchor. It's John Van Gosteen, and he says, he asks, can you tell us about Old Ironsides?
Yeah, so Old Ironsides, it's another side story that I've got mostly written. And again, as I was writing book 2, there's a character in book 1 named Gerald Williams, and he's actually modeled after my grandfather, Gerald Plum, who was a World War II pilot, B-24 bombers, just, man's man, but also very, very kind of firm and trying to do what's right, big family man. And my grandmother, who's, I believe, now 102 years old and still alive, her name is Lucille. And, they were married until they were married since the 1940s, and he passed away in the 90s, but she's still going strong. So anyway, my main characters, they're escaping. They're barely ahead of this assassin who's after them. And they get on this ship called the Lucille, and the captain is Gerald Williams. And At first, they're unsure of why they're even on this ship. They were told to go here by a rebel cell leader, and they find out that he's one of the leaders of this rebellion against this monolithic government. And so, he plays a fairly short part in that book, but it's a pivotal part. And so Old Ironsides is about him, and it's about this rebellion. After our heroes have fled to Earth to warn Earth of what's coming, this rebellion has stayed behind to try to slow down the council government and slow down their invasion plans. And Old Ironsides, Gerald Williams, he is the admiral of this fleet, and it's this motley fleet, think very much like the rebels in Star Wars. A lot of freighters that they've thrown guns and armor on, and they're doing their best to slow down this massive military machine, by the sweat of their brows, and not using technology, but more using effort and cunning. And so this book is about how they do that and how he in particular leads that effort.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Kim Harms, a big time supporter and fan of ours. I can't wait to read your books. And we agree totally, Kim. I know that, the thing is, Skyler, that a lot of times, the audiobooks that are out there just become more convenient. Whether you're driving a lot, you're going back and forth, it seems to be a big go-to for a lot of us. I know that I dabbled in it until Chris, he convinced me to do it, and I'm hooked.
Chris goes through multiple books a month on audiobooks because he drives so much back and forth and sits in traffic. So
I'm always listening to at least one at any given time. I'm actually
what are you listening to right now?
Brandon Sanderson's. I'm re-listening to the Stormlight Archive. And I'm on the book 3 right now. But I love Brandon Sanderson. He's one of my other inspirations. I love his stories. I love his character development. But yeah, I'm a big fan of audiobooks, and you know what, guys, you're convincing me here. When we hang up, I'm going to go kick off that process, and we'll get book 1 going on audiobooks sometime in the next few months.
When it's on there, I'll buy it. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, right. Absolutely. Me too. So Skyler, 2 things. Are you doing any conventions? Do you do any of the book signing stuff?
I haven't been, but that's on my marketing plan for the second half of this year. I'm going to start going to some of those. In the meantime, I've been helping people get signed copies of the book by reaching out to me, joining my mailing list. We're going to be giving away some signed copies here and there. We're also going to be giving our mailing list members exclusive access to some early content in these books that are upcoming in these new series that I'm putting out. But in the meantime, people can reach out to me through the website, join that mailing list, and if you really want a signed copy, we'll make sure you get a signed copy.
Very cool. I know you have a newsletter that you put out.
Yeah, that's fairly new as well. In fact, we're just getting it going here in late June. So the newsletter is going to be about upcoming content, and it's also going to be reviews of other books. Because I'm a voracious reader, even with my writing, I probably still read anywhere from 2 to 3 books a week.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's the only way I've ever been able to fall asleep since I was about 5 years old, is to lay in bed and read a book. So always reading something.
Outstanding. John just signed up. He's like, I'm on the list. So excellent. Thank you, John.
I find it interesting that you actually have a nonfiction piece too.
Yeah.
You actually do business.
Yeah, so I have been a manager and executive with a number of companies over the years. Amazon, Technicolor. I'm currently with Meta. I was with GameStop for a short period of time in charge of their supply chain. And one of the things that I've really focused on in my career has been business communication. Particularly executive communication. So I'm currently working on a book, The Business Bible to Executive Communication. I don't know if it'll release this year. I believe it'll probably release next year, but the goal is to give something that folks can read in a few hours that will give them some of the tips and tricks from industry experts on executive communication. Think of it as a primer course for those that are looking to get better in how they communicate.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, very cool. Very, very cool. So there is this in November, I believe it's in November in Vegas, there's a big show for authors and there's a lot of the indie published writers go to. Are you familiar with that?
I believe I've heard of it, but I haven't been. But I could definitely add it to the list for this year.
Well, I was really kind of hoping that you were going to say you'd be there, because we're gunning to go, and we have one of the producers of the show, who's a writer himself, was on our show not too long ago, and we've interviewed a lot of those authors like yourself that are involved in this genre, and they're all going. So I just I threw it out there hoping that you were going to say yeah, and this way we'd be able to meet you face to face. But please keep us on the in. When you're releasing, you come back, you drop in for whatever, 10, 15 minutes, just tell us, hey, I got the new book coming, and it's going to be on this and this, and it doesn't have to be a full length, interview unless you want it to be, but we definitely want you to come back. We want to know more about what's going on.
I appreciate that. And like I said, it's been a great honor to be here, and I'm always happy to come back. Yeah. You guys have a fun show. Definitely laughed along watching some of the episodes. So, always happy to talk to fellow sci-fi fans. We've got to stick together.
That's it.
That's standing. Thank you very much, Skyler. Appreciate you taking the time. And again, please keep us in the loop.
Yep.
I do. Thank you.
Here's to
Thanks
you,
to all
sir.
of your viewers.
Here's to you for creating worlds and stories.
There you go.
Thank you.
All right. Way cool, man. If he does the audio, I'm, like you,
like
Chris,
I said, I was.
Yeah.
So right now I'm angry at Audible for a good reason, because I had like 20 books on my wish list, and this month they came out with 83% off of some of the books. So
whoa,
almost every book on my wish list was half off.
Really?
Yes. And I think it's still going on right now. So if you've had
what does
books
that mean?
Every book at Audible is half off almost.
So
every book.
Half a credit?
Like no, it's cheaper to buy it than to use a credit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we're talking most of the books are like $7.50.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, I hate you people, because I went through my wish list and and I spent probably $70. I bought 10 books, I'm sure.
Oh, wow.
Because they were on my wish list, and I'm like,
yeah,
they're cheaper than a credit.
Yeah.
So why spend the credit, buy the book, and now I have a ton of books to listen to.
That's so cool.
I bought some books. I'm really interested in some of the Norse and Greek mythology and religions and those kind of things. So I bought a bunch of those books that I had sitting in my wish list. I think Richard Fox, a number of his books was in there. And then Kildare, Ringo, Johnny, the Ringo.
Johnny, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, Johnny Ringo. I had a couple of his books sitting in there. I'd already done all of the Black Fleet, or Black, I don't know, it's the End of the World series he did was amazing.
Yeah.
And then his Kildare series was amazing.
Cool.
And so I just, he had a couple of other books that just came out, and I had just put them aside, and I'm like, man, now I've got like 15 books I haven't done yet on my Amazon, it is Amazon, my Audible. So
yeah,
and then, and even some of the free stuff on Audible is amazing. You can get some of the free things is like all the Logan's Run books.
That's cool.
That was great. I mean, we should probably do probably do an Audible section on our show every so once in a
yeah.
while. But right now, we had an author on a couple of weeks ago, Kilby.
Yes.
And I bought his. It was his trilogy.
Yeah.
Was 1 credit, so I just bought the whole trilogy
cool.
for the belt, and I'm in book number 2 right now, and it started off really bad. It was one of the story was good, but the person who read it was really slow in the beginning. I couldn't get into him, and it's one of the few books I almost returned, because you can return a book if you don't like it.
I've done that.
So I came close. Well, I did do that for one book, and that was for the book you recommended, which was one of the. I'm not a big.
I think you should go back to they have ones that are like compiled, and the ones that are compiled tend to be the audio dramas. So they have like multiple readers, and they have the sound effects. That would probably be
those are, but I don't mind the ones without sound effects. I'm okay with that too. But
but for the 40K stuff, I'm just thinking
the 40K. I turned that one back in. I'm sorry, it just wasn't my thing.
Too deep. Yeah,
it was because if you followed 40K, you could have done it. So, but anyways, so it was it was slow in the beginning. The belt series was slow, but I'm so glad I stuck with it. It's been a really good story. It's been a really it's got quantum computers and some of the cool things in there, and some suspense and some romance, and it's really good. I really enjoyed the belt series so far. So it's something I would recommend but you're gonna have to slog through the first 3 or 4 chapters of that person reading until you get into his groove, and then it's okay after that. But that first couple of chapters, I was like, I can't stand this guy's voice. It's just too monotone.
That sucks.
And then
that
but
really kills it.
After the first 3 chapters, I think, then I either got used to it or he got better. One of the two.
One of the two.
But
couple of comments. Dave Francoeur, audiobooks are cool and have some to listen to when on the road, but at home I like the feel of a book in my hands. I do not disagree with that. I am all with you, Dave. It's just that sometimes I find the audio now is a lot easier. I'm jumping in and out of the car doing, errands, or even, like you're folding clothes. Yeah. And I just
pull it up on your phone. This is the best thing. I mean, you drop it on your phone, and you're like, I can't say her name because she's behind me, but keeps track of where you're at, so you can go from your phone to your car, and then back from your car to your phone. And most of the time I listen to mine. Most of mine is usually in the car. I don't usually have.
Right on the other side of here that I'm pointing to is one of my bookshelves, and it's 2 shelves doubled up of all of my favorite paperbacks that I've read in the past and continue to read, that I just collect. So, Dave, I know what it's like, when you get that, you're reading it. There's nothing like when you actually do the reading and having that, you're holding it, even with the newspapers, guys. I enjoy a good newspaper. Audiobook of Micro by Michael Crichton is amazing. I listen to it about every 2 years. Very memorable and entertaining, says John Repper. Micro. I have to look into that. Michael Crichton stuff is
Michael
really
Crichton,
good.
I liked his pirate stuff. Was it his pirates? He did the on Strange Tides. On Strange Tides. I have that audiobook. I like that one.
Yeah, it's good stuff, man. Good stuff that's out there. But again, thank you everybody for joining us live. A lot of you will watch us later on, and now's when we're going to get into Battlestar Galactica, and we're going to talk about.
I just wanted to bring this up. So some of you,
sure.
I was just talking about the sale, And let me pull this up. PowerPoint screen share. There it is. Fade. There it is. All titles 85% off. One day, 5 hours and 48 minutes and 27 seconds left.
Wow.
I hate you, Audible.
Dave just put up a recommendation. Guys, check out Rogue Angel by Alex Archer.
I've heard of Actually, I've heard of Alex Archer.
James McCoy says, have either of you checked out LibriVox? They have a massive selection of public domain audiobooks. No, I have not, and I will. LibriVox. Interesting.
Here's my wish list. Here we go.
Definitely will have to look at that.
Lost Books of the Bible.
School of Hard Knocks. Oh, yes. Okay. Olympus. Empire.
I like Richard Fox is a really good author.
Yeah.
Some of
there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Just Google 2 thumbs up. Hey, cool.
Yeah,
all right, thanks, James.
See what my library has now.
Meanwhile,
Kolchak. There you go.
Oh, that's a good one, dude. You should listen to that. That's pretty cool.
16 hours worth of Kolchak.
Yeah, I already went through that.
I think it was like $7.
I bought it. I bought the CDs.
And this is the movie this is the show I told you to check out. It's called The Peripheral.
Okay.
Mythos is what I was talking about. The Norse mythology, relics. The Belt is what I'm doing right now. The complete trilogy. I only have 3 hours and 49 minutes left. Oh
man, cool. Well, speaking of books and writing, Chris. Look, Battleship Leviathan.
Yes, I just finished that one.
We're going to take a deep dive into Battlestar Galactica, the Desanto Singer. That never happened.
Yeah, so we actually reread the script, and it's. I think if you want to find it, you can probably type in .pdf, the script .pdf. You can find it out there. It's not like it's probably illegal for some reason, but yeah, it exists out there.
So I did a deep dive, scroll down into the whole background of this, and I picked this up off of IMDb. And it talks about the background of this production, and it says that now this is from the perspective of Mr. Angel, and it's by September 2001, the 23rd anniversary of the original show's debut. The Fox Network US was taking interest in broadcasting the new Battlestar Galactica television series, starting with a 2-hour pilot episode. An ongoing series may have been considered if the pilot episode ratings were strong enough. So we did exactly, or we followed up, just like Chris said, and got ourselves the script that is out there. And I want to scroll back up to the front of this so we can tell you a little bit of what we're reading from. So this is from the Battlestar Galactica, written by Billy Brown and Dan Angel, who I just quoted the write-up from his IMDb that was up. And we have a copy of the network second draft that's dated 10/22/01. And that's what we're referring to in terms of what we read through. However, I can tell you a little bit more about the show itself, because the unofficial Battlestar Galactica companion, which was published in September 2003, had a full interview with Tom DeSanto. And it's interesting because he outlines the story the way he saw it, right? The way his vision was. And this was in an interview. So I'm going to quote from that interview. And this is what DeSanto, I'm going to jump into
Is this the book you're talking about?
The Unofficial Companion. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, $270. No, I don't think so. But anyway, so this particular piece of the interview that's in the book is out on the internet, and it says, uh, 23 years ago there was a battle between the Galactica and the Cylon fleet. The Galactica was victorious but took heavy damage and losses. In that battle, Apollo was lost. The Pegasus, which had reunited with the Galactica a few months earlier, was also lost. The fleet continued onward, and for the next few years, there were no transmissions or interactions with the Cylons. They had lost complete contact with them. Then Adama dies, and the driving voice behind the search for Earth, their Moses, is lost. The fleet then comes across a massive asteroid belt that is filled with all the raw materials they need: gold, ice, everything they need to survive, and it's hidden, which makes them feel more secure than a planet. There is a vote, and the fleet decides to stop at this asteroid. They start building this massive space colony, this great white elephant with pleasure domes, business centers, and gambling areas. And then, in essence, they start worshiping the golden calf. And then I'm going to read you just a little bit more of, again, this is Desanto talking about the project after the fact in an interview. We pick up the story. So the script itself, the one that Chris and I have read and now going to discuss with you guys, this is exactly, so I read you the backstory, and that's not even complete. There's just a little bit more to it, but I didn't think that was important. But now the script is going to open up with this. We pick up the story 22 years after they stopped looking for Earth, and the space colony that we called New Caprica is thriving. Because there has not been any contact with Cylons in nearly 25 years, the new council and a female president have decided to decommission the Galactica and reduce the military to a smaller fighting force as a way to save money. The new commander for the Galactica is an older Boxy who's now called Orin. Orin thinks Boxy is a childish name and no one dares call him Boxy anymore except for Starbuck. Instead of calling him Orion, we pulled a vowel out of his name. Orin is in his early 40s, a young John F. Kennedy type. He has commanded the Galactica for only a few years, but he has never had an enemy to fight. He has never faced the Cylons in combat. He is the Ahab without the whale. And I'm going to stop reading from the interview because I think that's a good enough open to background to what this was all about, right? So I'd heard about it. I didn't know that much about the details. Hadn't read the entire script. And then as we got closer to doing this show, Chris and I discussed it. And then that's when I did a deep dive and I started reading. I went to the wiki on it. I read as much as I could. And that's how I got into it. And then, of course, finished reading the entire script. This was the bridge. Let's say, Chris, that we know because we've seen pictures of this stuff. This was in production.
Yes,
they built
sets. They had the Vipers built.
Vipers built.
Well, they were partially built. They were there. You can see the pictures of I don't have them. I should have found those. But they had all the. And if you get a chance, you can search Desanto Battlestar Galactica on YouTube, and there is a. Don't leave now. Just stay with us first. Don't go. But after we get done pontificating over this, you can go to YouTube, and there's a great great interview with it's either Singer or Desanto, I can't remember. Online, that's a couple of hours worth of just back and forth in regards to what it was, but it's definitely an audio interview, so they throw in pictures so you get an idea. But it's a good interview in regards to getting the information from him on what happened and why it was. So if you get a chance, go there after our show, please. But it was an interesting. I think it was an interesting concept.
Yeah,
Um,
there's some really interesting twists on how they integrate the older cast.
yes. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Yeah, they did a
right
good
now,
job putting the new cast and the old
oh
cast, or
yeah,
the new cast and the
Starbucks
old
in it.
cast together. Yeah, Starbucks
Starbucks
in
is
it,
in this.
and
Oh
you
yeah,
know, you first Starbucks scene, you know, it's dark and he's got a cigar and he lights it. And you see his face, so that kind of you
yeah,
get that
oh
idea of
yeah,
like, oh yeah,
yeah.
that's cool.
Well, Kim, Apollo. Why is Apollo always killed off? Yeah, not what you
Because he's
think.
not cool like a Cylon.
Yeah, he's not. He's not. But I'll tell you, it's interesting. So their vision is to integrate the older generation with the younger, the younger cast members, right? So there's a whole new generation that are in their 20s that are now, the new fighter pilots, and Starbuck is a colonel, and Boomer's there too. He's also involved. I believe he's also a colonel, and Apollo's he's been missing, and it's interesting because the backstory is that after the hand of God, that the Pegasus shows up again, and when the Pegasus shows up again, they
Yawn.
oh my God, it shows up, and Sheba and Boj and others go back to the Pegasus, and so they're not in the pilot, they're not in the show, but DeSanto had a vision that he would bring the Pegasus back, if this was picked up as a series, and they would then reintegrate Sheba and Boj and everybody else that had left on the Pegasus because it wasn't destroyed, into their storyline, which I thought is pretty cool. Look, the idea is that for what, there's this, which was in production. This was going to be
Yep.
a reality. It's way more than anything that we've heard
Yeah.
up until now. Okay, so you put that on the scale, Chris, and then you put the reimagined one on the scale, right? So there's the two sides of this scale, and you have, what we ended up seeing, that had Richard Hatch was in it. He played, Zarek, great character, and for its time, the reimagined was a good series contextually. I don't know that it was really Battlestar Galactica in essence, but it is what it is. It's part of the franchise lore. And we have
Mhm.
something called 1980, which is,
Nobody wants to
that's
claim except for
yeah.
Return to Starbuck.
And then you have this. You have the
Yeah.
DeSanto singer. I think that in and of itself, it was because it was going to have new Cylons, new technology, but not far, not as different
Yeah.
as,
So yeah,
right?
but I think there's a lot of crossover. So I mean, we want to kind of summarize this whole thing, so we better start because it's going to take a minute. So they've settled on this planet, the new Caprica thing, and they've got kids in class, and they've got they got something weird happens in regards to some miners. Really great. I think it's a really great twist into there. So they start this off with something that's definitely a good hook. And, hey, suddenly, this miner sees a red thing go across this thing. And you're like, oh, what was that? So is it the Cylons returning? Is it who is it? And that kind of feeds into what's going on in the new colonies. So they have the colonies and they have the kids, the kids are learning about everything else. And then you've got the politics that's going on. So a lot of this, I think, when you read this, you find a lot of this carried over to the 2004.
Oh yeah, it did.
Yeah,
100%
Battlestar
it did.
Galactica. It's you're like, wow, that's Battlestar Galactica
Yeah,
2004.
female,
That's
yep.
Battlestar Galactica. 25.
Female president.
It's been
Yeah.
25 years since you've heard
Yeah.
from the Cylons.
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing that happened in in the new Battlestar.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't know if Ron Moore got a hold of this and said, oh, I can bend this. And he really didn't bend it. He just copied it. In some parts. And Ron, if you're out there, not trying to tell you anything bad. But I think, there's a lot of crossover that's from this into the other, which, like we said, this would have been a great classic crossover instead of the automatically drop into a new world with a 2004 piece.
Yeah. And they updated the Cylons. They made them.
Yep, they updated the Cylons. Yeah. Hey, look,
right? They made them worse.
Updated the Cylon. I mean, come on. This is a cool Cylon.
Well, I really like the other one more, but that's it's an updated
the other one. The one in the back, Ron Moore's?
The original.
The original. Yeah.
The original.
I think the original should have been. So I think I like the Second Coming Cylon, which was.
Yes, very cool too.
Which was a lizard, which is what we were supposed to have to begin with.
They went back to the lizard thing,
Right.
but so the Professor Patton says, my understanding is the Apollo absent thing was because Richard wasn't on board with the project and still want his version done based on the trailer. Well,
that's probably a good.
It might be, but he's in it. He's in the pilot though, Eric. He's in the pilot, and he is definitely, his character is definitely a part of this and would have definitely been in the series. The way they, he's they divulge his role in the new Cylon Empire towards the end of this pilot. So Richard Hatches is involved one way or the other. He's in it. So it wasn't like he's not in. They just held it off to made it like a big reveal at the end, which is very interesting. And I don't know.
So I guess I want to summarize this thing up. So I think they brought back a number of people with, Starbuck having offspring, and I didn't see Athena in this thing.
She is in it.
Where?
They meant he. Yeah, it's
like one sentence, maybe one.
Yes, there is one. Yeah, it's one sentence because
there's another reason why it's a C- in my book.
Well, yeah, but they couldn't get her, dude.
I'm sure, but it doesn't.
And that's why.
But yeah,
they weren't going to replace her. They were going to recast her. So that's why they had to do it that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, they would have,
Well, it's better than what.
Because she was so
in the remake that Larson was going to do. She was going to be disfigured.
Yes, and they were going to recast her. So I don't know how you could play with that. That would have been worse. Yeah. Let's mention that Orin, Boxy, is raised by basically by Athena.
Right.
Athena raises him because Apollo disappears after that one big battle with the Cylons. So that's a part of then this story. And the one thing that you and I have never discussed on the show is where Battlestar Galactica was going to go if they were going to bring it back for a second season, not 1980, but what was going to be done with Galactica as the Vision took it. And it was not going to be what we expected it to be at all. And that's in writing as well. That's in black and white.
That's in black and white. Yes, that was.
They were going to trim it down. Obviously, Marion Jensen is definitely gone. Yep.
It's all about the money.
Gone. A lot of the main cast was going to be cut,
rid of the main cast
half
because they was just cost too much.
Yeah. So that vision of what Galactica would have been for season
before Galactica
2,
1980, then they came out with the Galactica the After School Special. So that's what I call Galactica 1980. Galactica the After School Special is Galactica 1980.
Well, so Eric Patton says, I admit my preference is for a future where Apollo and Sheba ended up together. Agreed.
Yep.
Max Press Comics, the Saga of Fugitive Fleet audio drama, but I certainly would have been open, right? Yeah, understood. Fran, if you want, just look up the script. If you Google it, you have to
somebody actually put a link to the script in.
You can find it.
I think
it's
James
out there.
McCoy did a link to it.
I don't know. Is it for the script or is it?
I don't know. I'm afraid to click on it.
No, it's for the Libri. It's for the free audio books that are out there.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, if you actually look at it, so Francis, I've read the official plans for the second season. God awful. I
Yes.
prefer that the show died than morph into what it was planned. I agree wholeheartedly, Fran, because I've also read a lot of that as well, and some of the unproduced scripts that have been written up for that second season. I agree 100%.
Well,
It's
some of
not. It would.
actually the one of the scripts was pretty good. It's well, we won't go into that one. We can go into
Yeah.
we can go into unproduced scripts later.
Oh, hell
because
yeah.
we're in an unproduced script now.
Yeah, well, you're right. It ultimately didn't get,
Yeah.
but it was greenlit. And like we were talking, I've seen the updated Colonial Warrior costumes that had been designed and made, and there's actual pictures out there with
And
models
we
wearing
have
them.
reached out trying to get people who were on this this project on the show,
Yeah.
and we have not had any luck whatsoever.
No.
I don't know
Although-
if they're, you know, we've been wondering if they had to sign like an NDA or something, and something, but we have not been able to get a hold of anybody in regards to the show. No prop makers, no those. We've reached out to all of these people and
Yeah.
got nothing in return.
I think it's a mix, Chris. You and I have talked about this off camera, and it's I think it's a mix. So the crew, the casting, well, we don't know who the cast were. That's one thing that is never
Mhm.
really talked about. They may not have actually finished or finalized the casting. Crew, I believe, are still bound by the NDAs, but Singer and Desanto have given numerous interviews.
Right.
If you dig them up, you find them. They're out there, like the one that I
Yeah,
was reading
but-
from.
Dan
And-
Angel, Billy Brown, the people who wrote the script, negative.
Yeah, negative. Yeah, they don't.
You
They
can't.
don't really talk
You
about
either
it.
can't find them, or they don't respond.
Yeah, they're not. They're not interested for some strange reason. It's a shame, and because it's not on them that this. That
Yeah, I
this
would love to
didn't
talk
happen.
to the people who wrote this. I mean, this is we talk about this is a decent script. I mean, you know, if you want to go through this and say, it starts off with a new Caprica, and it starts off with some political pieces, and it
Right.
it progresses to there's a family issue back and forth with brothers, and kind of like a Zach and Apollo thing, but much worse. And it leads to them doing stupid things, and then luckily the stupid thing catches a possible, they're looking to, and once again this is where the 2004 thing is. Hey, they're getting ready to decommission the Galactica.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow, where'd that come from? We've never seen that before.
Right.
Because that's in 2004 as well. And then it's the Cylons sneak attack. Wow, that's another 2004 thing. They're going to do a sneak attack, and the Cylons haven't been around for 25 years. And I think in 2004 it was 25 years. I think it was.
Something like that.
Don't
Yeah.
quote me. It wasn't like it was a long time. And they're getting ready to decommission the Galactica. The council is taken over again, and the politics have come into play, and but now here we have the Cylons have changed. They're better now, but for some reason,
Yeah.
in
Why,
this black fleet
Yes.
created. It's
Yes.
which is the Scarlet Vipers,
Right.
which we're familiar with from the Second Coming,
Right.
and they can separate, and we can explode. This is why it's a C- in my book. It's just stupid. I can fly 2 Viper front ends into something and explode, and I take down a base star. No, sorry,
Well,
that's
this is
just
how they-
not enough.
Right.
So-
This was the answer to the.
This is
the
how to
predicament
get
that they
them
put
back
themselves.
into
Yeah.
the fleeing
Into
again,
space. Yes,
uh,
into fleeing.
into fleeing
They
again.
shouldn't have.
you
Well,
know.
they shouldn't have actually written themselves into that corner if that's what they really wanted to do. However, what we're discussing, guys, is the actual pilot. This
Right.
is all in the pilot. and the the reveal is that so there's a elementary
Child.
school
Yeah, now
child
that I did enjoy. I did
that has these
enjoy
visions.
the visions. I did
Yeah,
enjoy the book. A lot of the interweaved the book of the word. Wow,
yeah,
imagine that. 2004
yeah,
again. Um,
yes,
a book of the word was kind of interweaved into this with some really cool scripture. I guess is the best way of saying it.
yeah, because they quote their
Right, the
their religious
girl,
books.
the religious beliefs and the
Yeah,
quote, and
yeah,
so there's a lot of that into this this new script, which made it much better. But it
yeah.
seemed like at the end they just ran out of time, and they just kind of, oh, let's just blow it up.
Well, I think that was just a setup. So that they
Yeah.
at the end of this script. Now we're talking about the pilot, guys.
Spoiler
This is the
alert.
same
Yeah.
pilot,
Yeah.
right? So the pilot it pushes hard at the end. They push hard to wrap up and destroy the asteroid that they're on, and then of course try to save as many people as they can,
Hmm.
and they're going to be on this journey, and then the reveal is that the Cylons have been waiting for their opportunity, and I think it has something to do with their evolution, right?
Right. And they evolve, but and then
Yeah,
the Cylons can wipe at this point in the script. They can wipe them
yeah,
out. They've already
yeah,
they've gotten to the point where it's just like you're toast. This could be it, and then they stop for some weird reason.
yeah.
And that weird reason is to enslave them, which I can see that for a Cylon. We can
Yeah,
always
because
just
they
enslave.
actually so the
Yeah.
who the Imperial is it the Imperial? It's not the Imperial's leader that comes on.
No.
It's some kind of Cylon.
Yeah. The heck is it?
So at some point towards the third, the last third
Fourth
of
or
this
fourth,
pilot,
and there's like 6 acts in this thing too.
seven, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot. So this new Cylon leader who talks about the new Cylon Empire is going to enslave all the humans and take them to Cylon, right? Is that what he says? Takes them to the Cylon,
Yeah,
not
I'm
homeworld,
looking for the name of it. Yeah, it's
and then they're going to, I guess, use humanity,
yeah.
and
They're pretty much taking them hostage.
yeah,
So they're taking them hostage.
oh,
Cylon. It's a
so
Cylon admiral. I don't think they come up with a name on him.
okay, yeah. So yes, it is a Cylon Admiral. So Eric Patton put up a thing. There's a link to an old column Richard wrote. However, we're working our way to the reveal that Richard Hatch, Apollo, is actually in this pilot and is being manipulated by the new Cylons. He's actually he was captured. That's why he disappeared. He's not dead.
Yep.
He was captured by the actual Cylons, and he is a part of their either advisory board or he's been altered. They've done something to him, and he's actually on the base star with them.
He's a
So
bad guy.
so Richard Hatch is now on the other side. He's being
Which
manipulated.
2004 again.
Yeah. So isn't that's kind of crazy?
Yep.
But I can see how Richard Hatch may be opposed to I could see it, of course. He's opposed to the fact that they've taken his character and they've done this, they twisted his character. So I can see how he wasn't completely on board, but he is in it. Lola wants to know, does he escape? We don't this was all going to develop. So the idea was that this was the 2-hour pilot.
Yep.
And then if everybody liked it and it got good ratings, that the series would explore what happens to the fleet, what happens to the characters, how they bring back, like I said, the Pegasus was going to come back with Sheba, and how maybe they do get Apollo back.
Yeah.
There's
it's an interesting
storyline.
But I think it's an interesting storyline. But I also want to say, by reading through it and reading through, after writing my own, or us writing our own, you read through this and you see some really good scenes. The scenes with the girl as the as Boxy is describing the Battlestar and everything else, and the scenes where the girl has her first seizure, and
she's a visionary. Yeah, she's some
visions and those kind of things. That scene's really cool, where you can see it bouncing back and forth. I can see it in my mind. It was a really well written scene. And then the other well written scene was towards the end, when they're like they go to this little girl's house and they're like worshiping her.
Yeah, which is again, it seems like it came out of they used that in a way in the 2004, and so we don't know if he escapes Lola, but I think the vision was to eventually.
We keep him enslaved.
I think it was to get him back, especially when the Pegasus comes back. But
why do we always have the Pegasus come back? Come on,
stop
it!
You stop it.
It's
Fred
dead.
says,
They're all dead.
for fanfic. Thank God for fanfic, keeping the spirit and vision of the original alive. 100% agreed with that, and that's why we love the fanfic so much, especially good stuff like yours and Eric's and some of the others that were just incredibly well written and captured not only the essence of Battlestar Galactica, but also the characters themselves. Because you can write doesn't mean that you capture the essence of the story or the characters. I've read a lot of professionally written, published Star Trek that I had to stop. I couldn't read it because the characters weren't captured correctly. It wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't, Kirk and Spock, and this, I was like,
it wasn't what they would have done in your mind and most of everybody else's mind.
It doesn't sound like them.
Right.
Baltar was going to come back.
Yes,
Baltar was going to come back, and Fran wants to know: is there any indication that they had planned the arc, or was it going to be writing on the fly without any planning? To be honest with you, Fran,
that's a good question.
I was going to say, if you remember the details in that interview that you watched, he may have revealed more. I did not go.
It's been a while since I watched it, so
yeah. But yeah, so on YouTube is a 3-hour interview about this with Desanto.
The pictures and everything else.
With Singer or Desanto?
I don't remember which one it is. So
okay. Now the article that I was reading from, it goes on, and it's so. One of the questions that they posed was, how would you introduce Apollo again? How does Orin manage to escape the Cylons? Where is Adama in the movie? Adama is past.
Yeah.
What happened to Baltar? What happened to Cassiopeia? Where is Athena?
That's a good question.
So Athena would have raised Boxy Orin after the loss of Apollo.
And then
she and Orin's
Cassiopeia,
wife,
I believe, was...
Cassiopeia leaves with the Pegasus.
Yeah.
So it says here that she, this is Athena, and Orin's wife, right? So Boxy's wife, were killed in the massive Cylon attack on the New Caprica. Understand, many of these histories would be story points and would not have been apparent in the first episode. In the series, it would have been a mix of the new characters, Orin and his family, and the older characters from the original series. Even Jane Seymour would have returned.
And Boomer was in this. So
yeah, he's in it from the beginning. He's the colonel. Yeah. So it seems, Fran, that well, first of all,
Jane Seymour can't be in this because she's dead.
Well, they were going to work. He was going to work a way to either do flashback or do something with her because she's supposedly.
Flashbacks I can see, but yeah, she's not.
Well, yeah. So she called.
Cylon
He actually got to work out something with her. There was one of the original characters. He was saying that he was not able to actually lock down. Found out that they were interested, but there was a character that did not. That they weren't sure that they could get back, and it was somebody else other than Maren Jensen. So, so they did have a vision, Fran. And the other thing is that both Desanto and Singer were actually fans of the original Battlestar Galactica, which says a lot. The pictures that I've seen, Chris.
I think Paul's right. I think Serena was supposed to be one of the
angels.
Light.
Yes,
yep.
That's right. Yep. So they were going to bring her back as one of the angels. That's right. So I mean,
Sorry, Sean
you know,
said that first, but yeah.
it's yes, that's right, Paul. So look, I mean, guys, look, let's be open minded about this. You saw what we got. This unfortunately collapsed, and we got the 2004, which did not. It
It
had
was,
they
don't get me
totally
wrong, it's 2004 was still good, but it was just not the same Battlestar Galactica we're good. I
no,
mean,
it wasn't
you could have
right.
called it another name and, you know, could have gotten away with it, but it was, I don't want to say it was not Battlestar Galactica because it was.
It
But,
was. It's
and
part
a
of the
lot of people
franchise,
hate
just like
it and
1988.
trash on
Yeah,
it and everything else because,
right,
but it was, it kept the name going, whether no matter what,
yeah,
but it also was an interesting storyline
yeah,
that, you know, that's still watchable. I can watch it again. Maybe I
yeah,
will. I did like Blood and Chrome and all those other things. So
right,
I think it was an interesting storyline. I think it was not the Galactica that we wanted, but it was still Battlestar Galactica. So I don't want
right.
to poop on anything
No, of
that can
course not. But
possibly bring back the
right,
original or bring
right,
back different stories or whatever it may
right.
be.
But this was not this. This is like I said before. This that we're talking about, the Brian, the DeSanto singer was in
Right.
production,
Oh,
was
yeah.
gonna happen, and
They were building props. They were in
yeah,
the
the
process of
costumes,
building the
everything was there.
Vipers. Yeah,
Yeah.
the
So the idea that this was one step, like a couple of steps from actually being aired, right, being filmed, and a reality is way more than the second
yeah.
season
Can you
of the
can
original
you imagine how
Battlestar.
much money they spent just making
Oh, they
all of this
spend
stuff
millions.
and
Yeah, they
everything
spend
else, and
millions.
then just to trash it?
Right. So the idea is we got the reboot. If I had to choose, if you said to me, well, being a fan that you are, would you have rather than let it just be reimagined, and we got the 2004 and that was successful in and of its own right, or would you have rather taken a chance with this script, with this story, as we've mentioned and now discussed it?
Oh yeah,
And
I
I
mean,
vote I
yeah,
vote
I
this.
vote for the
I
story.
vote
Yeah,
this would have been this would have been,
right.
because it's Chris, there's a lot of this is
But you're
not
but you're
the
talking between
reimagined.
9/11 and they filmed the 2003. They probably would have filmed the pilot. So
No, I think they would
because
have
the original episode
started
was
filming
2004, so their pilot had to
this
be filmed probably a year before that.
this thing would have been going probably
It got shut down before
2001.
9/11
Yeah, so by
or
fall,
after
by
9/11. Yeah,
yeah, so by the winter or like January, February of 2002, this would have been actually filming on stage. They would have been
right.
actually going with it. And that's why I think that
So 2
I
years
would have
later, we got
voted for this. Yeah, we got what we got.
yeah. So I'm like, that's still a pretty quick turn from
According according to the interview, according to the interview, between the two of them, once one of them left, right? So Tom DeSanto, he tried to keep it going,
right,
um,
but
and he just couldn't,
the other one of the other guys went to X-Men.
Okay, so Sci-Fi Channel discusses new Galactica. This is from April
Really?
2002
Hmm.
from Variety. This is a quote. A remake of the TV series Battlestar Galactica as a 4-hour miniseries. The transformation of the mini Firestarter rekindled by Stephen King into an hour-long series in animated Sci-Fi Weekly. These are the highlights. Sci-Fi Channel's upfront presentation here in April. Right. So I just read you what Variety published, that Galactica, along with the Stephen King. This is the context of what was happening in that moment. We're making the most aggressive investment in original programming in our history, says Bonnie Hammer, president of Sci-Fi Channel. So that includes a Stephen King and and so these are the two, I guess, two that transferring Mini, Firestarter, Rekindled, and Battlestar Galactica, two shows that they were definitely pushing for. Hammer says, president of Sci-Fi Channel, the impending takeover of Sci-Fi Channel by Vivendi Universal has already paid dividends with, quote, Battlestar Galactica, which Hammer said is one of Universal's library assets that will be able to reimagine in mini-series form. So, hint, hint, here's the vision, right? So
Right.
here's something that they were going to redo Galactica one way or the other. And when this fell apart, obviously they did the other one. So
and we see
right?
so much of this one in the other one. We see so much of what was it, the book in the other one. We see so much of the comics in the other one.
Right.
Those were all out prior to 2004.
All right. So I have another piece of information for you. By November 2001, Bryan Singer left Battlestar Galactica to focus 100% on the X-Men 2 within Fox's film division.
Right.
By December 2001, the Fox network was no longer supportive, and Battlestar Galactica production offices closed their doors in Universal City, California.
Yep.
On April 2nd, 2002, Sci-Fi Channel announces a new Battlestar Galactica production team, leading to a planned 4-hour miniseries which reimagines the show. And there you go. That's what I think you were kind of putting the timeline together.
Yeah.
So they went right away from it. But I will tell you this, that Singer left, but Desanto continued to try to get this original vision done. And he was making phone calls on his own, and he was trying to get the interest going.
Great to talk to him.
Yeah, but
hey, if you're out there, Tom, give us a call.
Yeah, as soon as Bryan Singer left, though, he had contractual obligations.
Right. Well, I mean, that's what's happening now with Kingsburg. I mean, they put the remake in Kingsburg's lap, as well as Sam Esmail for the new Battlestar Galactica. So they had the movie is in Kingsburg's lap, and the series was in Esmail's lap, and they both are doing other projects right now. So this thing's in, like, they call it development hell.
Wow.
And it really is they own it. They throw it, they throw the fans a bone every so once in a while.
Yeah.
But it's not moving.
Look, so this is really cool, Chris. This is how the interview ends that I found from the unauthorized. This is the interview ends with this question: why did Fox pull away from the movie after Bryan left? Right, we're talking about the pilot, right? This is the pilot that we all thought would be great with the original cast, right? The Desanto Singer. We actually had commitments from 3 feature directors who loved the script and wanted to do it, but Fox seemed to lose interest. Then, when Firefly was announced, I knew we were done at Fox, because that was
Firefly.
a sci-fi show. Yep. This is why they mentioned Firefly killing Galactica, because that was the sci-fi show they were going to get behind. Therefore, we shut down everything, but I was determined to find another way to get the project started again. I spoke to Studios USA, and they said they wanted me to continue with the show as we searched for a new network. I suggested that we take a new approach, do a 4-hour miniseries, and distribute it through the Sci-Fi Channel in the same formula that had been done with Dune. They thought it was a great idea, but that we would wait until spring. I continued to meet with the studio several times, but in spring of 2002, they decided to go in a different creative direction and do a reimagining, not a continuation. However, there are many similarities between our show and theirs.
Yep, exactly.
And there you go, guys.
There you go.
And that's it. So thank you, Firefly. I hate Firefly. No, I don't. I'm just kidding. But
Firefly rolls.
Yeah. See, so sometimes these are the things getting in the way. Yeah, Firefly
It's
was
all
being
about
done
it's
for.
all about ROI. I mean, what's return on my
Yeah,
investment? You know, how much money can I make off this? And they look at the new series and they look at this old series and like, well, which one do you think is, you know, going to appeal to the
right,
audience? And they're like,
right,
oh, and then
right.
they go with the one they think they're going to make more money with, not the one
Sean.
that the fans want. They're
Well,
not really concerned about making the fans happy.
no, but that's foolish because they still don't understand the formula that the old fans are where the base is and the money is, and that if you do it right, you can then generate. Now, Sean Shallow from Battlestar Bulletin Board says this: BSG just needs its John Favreau or Dave Filoni. It needs someone with pull, who is passionate, has a winning vision, who's a fan, and that would probably bring it back. We want to believe. I agree totally. Now, John Repper says Ron Moore convinced Sci-Fi Channel to do his vision. It was very realistic. It was gritty. All right. Unfortunately, did not capture the adventure and spirit of the original, but it had, like you said, good
Yep.
points, Chris. Right? Sounds like you were saying it. And I mean, these things happen, guys, but that doesn't mean that you know. I don't know. I just think that if I was going to be involved in making something happen, this one, the singer Desanto or
Yes.
Desanto singer, I
No,
thought was
and if you
definitely
don't, if you get a chance, go ahead and read the script. I mean, it's how many pages is this thing? 115 pages.
Yeah,
But it's worth a read. You can
it
see
is.
you'll get a vision to where they could have, where it could have been, and you'll
Yes,
see a vision of where Ron Moore either had the script or I don't know, stole ideas. I don't know if probably not stole ideas because they own the script. They just probably handed it to
right.
him.
So they just
Yeah,
they
so
they
he used
manipulated it.
some of the ideas from the script here to create his vision,
Right.
and it's
Yeah.
it's a
Hey,
little
listen.
bastardized.
Right. And then like Fran had said, and like, Professor Eric Padden, it's the fan fiction that we love so much. And some of it, like, I mean, besides, Fran's and Eric's,
Yep,
Janowski's stuff is
yep,
phenomenal. Sharon Monroe wrote some phenomenal
phenomenal.
books as well. So it is what it is. We just hope that, like some of you have said it, we hope that someday we get to see some of it, and hopefully it'll do justice. And who knows,
Yep.
we're throwing our towel into the ring, and we want everybody to see what fans like ours are capable of doing. Now, you guys probably know as well or better than I that there are fan films for just about everything. From never mind Star Wars and Star Trek. There's Indiana Jones. There's Farscape. There's even Firefly. There are fan films, of course, Marvel and DC represented, character wise, etc. And all kinds of other shows and movies are out there. But I don't believe, and I think you'll agree, that there isn't enough Battlestar Galactica fan films. And that's one of the reasons, if not one of the main reasons, that Chris and I put together and got together and then put together the Stranded Warrior. So we are back in the saddle, labeling all the scenes, getting everything ready to have it handed over to an editor that's working with us. In the meantime, I've actually published the movie poster. So the official movie poster of the Stranded Warrior is now out there. I'm going to make sure that we put it up on IFB and the Stranded Warrior, and it's it's really cool, right? So at
Yeah,
the bottom, it's been formatted with the official, the correct formatting for a
I
motion
should have
picture,
kept the picture of
and
it, but I didn't.
it's really cool. So that's out there. We're gonna debut it at AwesomeCon.
Yep.
So I think that's what we're gonna do is you wait for it to see it at AwesomeCon. It'll be there. We have a nice like I think it's a 16 by 20, Chris, that we have.
Yep.
There's another prop from the Stranded Warrior.
Yeah. So this is another one of those. Yeah, you gotta love mediocre modeler. I mean, he was amazing. So I went ahead and wanted a Count Ebly emblem done. So I went ahead and traced the new Count Ebly emblem, and then I got a hold of a guy who did jewelry, and I said, this really wasn't what I think they envisioned, was the flat Count Ebly thing. So it was just, if you looked at the Count Ebly, it was flat. So I had them take it and make a piece of jewelry out of it. And I sent the file to Mediocre Modeler. Says, what do you think? Can you make this? And 2 days later, he already made it. I was like, I just asked if you could. So this was the Count Ebly emblem that we did.
Oh my God, look how cool that is.
And then this is an exact tracing over top of the original Count Ebly emblem, but now it is curved like a piece of jewelry would be instead of flat like they had. So this is our vision of the Count Ebly emblem. And I mean, it is an exact copy of the original, except once again, it's created with a jewelry look, because it's got that curve to it.
It's so cool.
Yeah,
it's so cool.
So,
you guys wait till you see the Stranded Warrior. You're going to see all of this in there. It's phenomenal. Hope to see you guys at AwesomeCon.
Yeah,
we're going to be there.
Show up.
And we're going to have more from other conventions. We're going to have more from Trek Long Island. John One attended PhillyCon, and he's going to have a report for us from there as well. And then we go to AwesomeCon. We have our tickets for New York Comic Con, so we'll be going there. We're going to have some good fun. That'll be in October. And, of course, there's Dragon Con, and there's going to be some others. But all good things, guys. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, everybody, for watching later on. It's astonishing. We're YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. We also have some podcasts that are out there as well on Spotify. We're going to have more, as time progresses. I'm going to help Chris to actually try to get those up and out, including on Apple. We'd like to get them up on Apple. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, guys. We love having you on board.
It's been a great night. We've had some, really cool, cool interview. Great things from Tiny Bean Tara with the new stuff, what's coming out, and then and then we got to talk about the new, or what could have been.
It could have been,
could have been, and it's a good discussion. And once again, if you get a chance to read it. But we really appreciate you coming out, and I'm down to my last little bit, so I still have enough to toast with. So we, once again, come see us, check us out at AwesomeCon. If you can't, that's fine too. We will be going live, I think, from there. We're gonna try to do some 360-degree live from there too.
Oh yeah,
it just depends on
cool.
wireless connections and how much data Pete's and my cell phone can have together, because we'll combine them so we can get an actual broadcast, because they wanted almost $2,000 for internet connections. What a racket. But they did give us a table, so we will be there. And Diana Durango is still on the ticket to come.
Diana Durango is, and Jimmy Shirts. And we're going to have the collectible cards, our own special edition cards.
Come on down and you can get a Count Ebly card.
Ooh, a signed one.
The best card of them all. The most evil card of them all. Look at that. You can feel it from this. Yeah, so you can feel the evil.
All right.
But come on down, check us out. It's we still have one more show before.
Yes, we do.
Then so we will talk more about it next week. But
cool.
Until then, we're going out of range. The base star and the Battlestar are headed back out into the space. So if you get a chance, check us out on our websites and our Facebook pages. And if not, we'll see you next week. So here's to you, because you guys are important. And what do we say to you? It's
Feel the fleet, everybody.